Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. In history, several time periods tend to be what we'll call the favorites, at least among secular historians. The postmodern age, the Enlightenment, the Renaissance to a degree, and certainly the classical period seem to be popular candidates for secular historians to praise. On the contrary, there's one time period in history that has been slain in the street, especially by secular historians. It is a time they argue that history is largely forgotten and sort of just gave way to barbarism and bloodshed. There is some truth to this, but there's so much to explore in this period that we must not miss, the period known to us as the Dark Ages. Now, the exact dates are disputed, but it's a good parameter for us to name the beginning of this time period with the fall of Rome to the Visigoths in 476 AD, and to end it several hundred years later with the rise of medieval feudalism under the German king and first Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne in 800 AD. This time period is really the first of three miniature periods in the Middle Ages, the second being the High Middle Ages, and the last the Later Middle Ages, which would give way to the Reformation. Now, the reason why historians call it the Dark Ages is somewhat of an insult to the times. They argue it was a time of disorder and chaos in the ashes of the Roman Empire, where barbarians ran rampant. While it was a time of bloodshed, as all of the Middle Ages was, it was also a time of great cultural advancement. The most obvious advance came with the growth of Christianity. Between the fall of Rome and the rise of feudalism, Christianity spread all throughout Europe and became the one true uniting system across the continent. This was also the high watermark of the Byzantine Empire, where we see great works of art and great churches of Christendom created, such as the beautiful Hagia Sophia in Constantinople. We also see the establishment of many European nations, birthed in an overtly Christian identity. King Clovis of the Roman Gaul established Christianity in the region in the early 6th century, and we see this as the foundation of France. We also see the formation of the Christian Irish civilization as well as the Christian English civilization, with the historian Bede and his ecclesiastical history of the English people. What we see as the beginning of the High Medieval Society, the second stage of the Middle Ages, comes in Charles the Great, who became King of the Germans in the late 8th century, and was then crowned by Pope Leo III as the Emperor of the Romans, he called him, on Christmas Day in 800 AD. Here, the shift to medieval feudalism and the often contentious relationship between church and state begins to rise to the fore of European society. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.